Welcome back to the Culture Clash Comedy Podcast. Clashers, how are we doing? I'm Shafi from the East.
And I'm Dan from the West.
We have an amazing solo podcast episode today. We miss each other, so we're like, you know what? We cannot have a guest interfere with our booming chemistry. Is that even a thing? I don't know.
It's
but I
electric.
like electric. We have a lot of new fans on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, so we appreciate the support. Go to the patreon.com/culture clash comedy to get more exclusive content. We have, people joining that for fun. So support the pod. We've been doing this for free. And we cannot keep doing this for free. All right? I cannot stress this enough. The inflation is high. Look at this studio. It takes a lot of money to have this studio, right?
You think this shit is free?
You think this is free, dude?
Yeah.
Look at this couch. Beautiful casting couch.
None of it's free.
By the way, Dan, I haven't seen you since Trump's third indictment. What's going on? It's been a while, dude.
That's a really funny way to measure time.
Yeah, I think so, too. I think we're going to start that.
When did I see it? No, it was in between. I mean, I think Giuliani had gotten his mugshot.
Yes.
Yeah, back before then. His mugshot under the radar in terms of funny. Really, really funny.
I mean, because he doesn't know how to create a march. That's the problem. He should put it on a shirt, but he didn't do that. Trump did it, and that's why, we talk about it more.
They'll never be...
Giuliani is also not, attractive as a human being. Trump, even though he's not attractive, but he still, tries with the pout.
Yeah.
He does a duck face.
He's got a look.
It's unique. Giuliani, you cannot find him in a crowd, but Trump, you can. He stands out.
Yeah, it's a good guy to get.
He's tall.
I think, and he's got weird posture. Trump's got he just bends forward a little bit.
Sure.
I'm done talking.
What's
Trump.
going on in the week of Dan Pelzello?
How about this? We haven't seen each other. I did a protest.
What?
Yep.
Wait, can I guess?
Go for it.
You protested climate change.
Climate change.
Oh my God! Do I know this guy or do I? Did you get to meet your queen Greta?
Greta was not there. AOC was there. Didn't
Shut
see
up.
her.
Where was this? Okay, explain to me where this was. How did you find out about it?
Oh,
and what was the agenda?
I'm subscribing to all the climate change, but climate defiance, climate emergency fund.
Are you following these people on X, Instagram,
Twitter,
email, newsletter? How are you?
Twitter,
all of it.
Instagram.
It's X now.
It's X.
Yeah, it's X.
My X feed, my Twitter feed is just a nightmare of climate news. So I just
So you wake up every morning and you're like,
blast my brain with it.
You're like, there's 11,000 people. So sorry to hear. 11,000 people died in Libya.
Yeah.
In the flooding, and then the earthquake in Morocco.
Dude, how about this? There are people who are saying that earthquakes are semi-related to climate change.
Which is insane.
Yeah, there's some relationship between the oceans. Oceans get heavier; they push down on tectonic plates.
Let's not even. We don't even have to consider. But the flooding itself.
Yeah, the flooding was wild.
11,000?
Those pictures were. Yeah, that's
before you go into your week, I need to discuss something with you.
Let's hear it.
I know you are a man with a lot of heart, and I feel the same way at times. Whenever there's a tragedy, I feel like I have this. I feel so guilty. There's a lot of guilt in me, and I feel like I have to donate.
Yes.
Right? So what I do is I started doing this a few years ago. I think it was one of the first ones. The pivotal moment was George Floyd's one.
Yep.
And George Floyd, you remember the incident? He went and then the bodega guy called the cops on him.
Fake dollar bill.
$20.
Fake $20 bill, yep.
That's when I was like, I'm going to donate $20 to the justice.
That's an easy one.
And I was like, $20, that's good. It's not bad. You know? And then there was a Palestinian thing that happened. And I was like, I'll donate $50. A lot of people dying there. And then, I was like, I had a friend whose cat passed. And I was like, you know what? And that's when I was like, how do I, I was like, I wanted to buy her like a Grubhub or DoorDash, and I was like, you know what? 25.
Yeah.
It's a good gift card. You can't really do less.
Yeah.
But then that comes into the, how do you, and then I felt guilty. I'm like, okay, one cat.
Yeah.
Whereas a lot of people. And the Libya thing happened, and I was like, initially the reports came out, it was like 5,000.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, $50, sure.
Yeah.
And then like they're like, oh, 11. I'm like, I cannot keep donating.
No.
I mean, there has to be a limit.
And your exchange rate is also
It's like
all
it's
fucking over
so
the place.
I cannot. I don't know how to do it. So like I have to standardize it now.
Yeah.
You know, like when I'm in a lineup with like Seinfeld or Jim, and I was in lineups with like Seinfeld and Jim Gaffigan. We all got paid the same money.
Yes.
So no matter the tragedy is, I'm paying the same amount because I'm gonna do it like I get in comedy. Seinfeld, they shouldn't be getting the same money as me.
Yeah.
But they do on lineups, and that's what I'm. What do you think about that?
I like that because I'm also here's the thing about
Can't be paying more money. I don't understand what I need to do.
The donating stuff, right?
It's hard.
Is hypocrites are welcome. That's the thing about
I feel
about
I am
these movements.
hypocrite and I do it.
Yeah.
And the reason, let's be honest, it's a selfish. I want to feel good about myself.
It's exactly a selfish reason.
It's not like I'm not seeing. I try to because I'm like looking at it and I get impacted. So I try to avoid the news. I just like it happens. I'm gonna donate and then move on. Oh, the Pakistani flood there was like 2 more floods. So I donated, and then I get biased because in Bangladesh I pay more money.
Yep.
To my people. You know what I mean? So it's like there's that bias that comes out.
So
it's like hard to do the math.
Once you accept that we're all hypocrites,
yes,
then because that's what a lot of this, like a lot of protesting and political stuff is just like, hey, you're a hypocrite. It's like we're all hypocrites. Like I'm at a climate change march. I fucking fly a bunch.
But to defend you and to defend me, I will do that for the clashers. At least I'm doing something.
Yes.
I mean, even if you think that you can play $5, that's I think more than most people even willing to do, because most people don't even want to like think about it.
Yeah.
So like if you feel like that's fine. You know what, Clashers, why don't you tell us what you do so that we can kind of distill, write to us on the next Insta post so we can kind of distill what other people are doing. Maybe we'll like pick a winner in the next app. Like, this is something that's good.
We'll donate to them.
Yeah, maybe a lot of companies do like matching.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll be like, oh, this is person is doing this good thing and we can match that.
I think everybody.
But to defend you, you're the one. Like we all have to fly for work and stuff. Like there was like a big. I mean, Al Gore came out with the Inconvenient Truth. Yeah. Right. Remember that doc? And then people made fun of him because he takes planes or whatever. I'm like, but you kind of have to.
Yes.
Right. If you want to promote your. You cannot be. I mean, you can try to like offset your stuff in some other ways, right? Like I try not to shop for myself if something is redundant. I try to be very minimal. Or like I know you do a lot of secondhand stuff, so it's like you can find ways. Like I'm plant-based, so you can find ways to offset it, but at the same time you have to travel to like advocate. Like it's almost like saying, oh, like you can't be like someone who's like advocating for sex trafficking, and you're like, yeah, how are you advocating for sex trafficking when you're having sex? I'm like, what? I'm not gonna have sex.
Or
now?
like you watch porn. How can you advocate against sex trafficking when you watch porn? Yeah, that's like.
I mean, I don't watch porn. That was Dan's point, but I mean, how can you?
So that was my weekend. I went to protesting is fun. Nice day for
Where
it
was
too.
it? Where was it?
It was up by Columbus Circle.
AOC was the main speaker.
AOC was headlining.
She was headlining.
Yeah, you had Peter Kalmus was there. He's like this NASA guy.
NASA guy was
the
there.
NASA guy who gets arrested all the time.
So why was? How did is this for the? Because we have the UN Climate Week.
That's what it was for. Yeah, it was to kick it off.
Okay, so what kind of speeches are we talking about?
I didn't see any of the speeches. I did my marching, and then I clocked in, clocked out. I was like, that's enough for me.
So how long did you march?
We marched. It was supposed to be like 4 hours. We got to like 3 hours. I was with my wife. We show up signless. No signs. People then end up giving us signs.
What signs did you hold on to?
Mine said, end Biden, declare a climate emergency. And then my wife had the same, but in Spanish. For some reason, she had the Spanish
She doesn't even know Spanish.
No, she does not know. She barely knows English.
She doesn't know what it was.
Yeah, so I had to explain to her what it was. Biden, yo soy Biden.
What was the funniest sign that you saw?
Oh, there was a giant, how about this? A giant pipeline monster. It was a big
it's the Keystone.
Yeah, or the
pipeline?
MVP pipeline is the new one. So it was like
wow.
a real big pipeline monster. It was like on top of everybody's heads. It was like 2-3 feet
Shut
in
up.
diameter, went like all the way back. That was a real good one.
Yeah.
There was one that just said "divest, you greedy fucks."
That's good. I like that one.
That's a
Dude,
good
I remember
one.
in college, I don't know if I told you, there was like a climate protest where, because there was a lot of trustees that were getting a lot of funding from like fossil fuel companies.
Yep.
For our university, and we had a protest, and my friends got arrested.
Yeah.
They got arrested because they were like divest from this, and the cops were like, "I'll divest you into the jail." And I was like running away. I'm like, "Please don't! I'm gonna get deported. Let's run away from this."
Yeah, it's a fun one. I'll probably end up getting arrested one day. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, you gotta schedule. You gotta
schedule it. Looking at like when am I gonna get arrested is like I gotta run it by my wife. I gotta look at the calendar. It's a lot.
Let me ask you this. Like I look at the civil rights protest, and I mean, I'm just so in awe.
Mm-hmm.
It's just so amazing. Have you been? You go to Atlanta a lot. Have you been to the Dr. King Museum there?
Yeah, how good was that? His birthplace?
I mean, it was unreal. I cried. It was so bizarre. And there was like a section with like Gandhi and Dr. King. It was really, really poetic, really well done. Really enjoyed it. I didn't know that he got stabbed in 1957. And you know what I liked about Dr. King is that he also voiced his concerns for the Vietnam War.
Yeah.
And people were like, "You shouldn't be doing this. You should just think about this because that's going to put this in the backseat." And he was like, "You know what? It doesn't matter because if I don't condone what's going on there, then it's a farce."
Yeah. There were a lot of people in the civil rights movement who was like, "Can we just figure out the voting rights stuff?" And he was like, "No, I got to call a fucking spade.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Like a lot of people like don't really want to speak out on other issues that doesn't really affect you, but he did, and that's so amazing.
Yeah.
So that's what I was like going back. Like our generation's biggest threat seems like a climate.
Yeah.
And it's just so cool to see that you are in the forefront of that. Do you think when you're like old and you have kids or whatever? Do you think they will look up to they'll ask you, "Oh, Grandpa Panzello, like what were you doing that Columbus Circle?" And how would you like share that?
And I will say, "Listen, my Bangladeshi children. Listen, my beautiful Bangladeshi children."
You'll adopt.
I would hope so. Yeah, I think it'll be there's a lot of really exciting movement in it. Gavin Newsom just declared a lawsuit against 5 fossil fuel companies.
Yeah.
California is suing them.
Do you remember the kids in Montana won like a lawsuit against the state?
They
sued the state. I'm like, these kids are dope as hell.
So there's a lot of like real encouraging, and everybody's saying like this is very encouraging. So like I think it's going to be close. I don't think we're going to make it through fully, but I think there's a lot of good vibes and stuff, and I'll probably keep participating in it. And just donate like a couple bucks to the. That's the other thing too. It's like, okay, you can't get arrested. That's fine. Give money to the motherfuckers. Give money to the dumb college kids who are like, I got nothing to do for the next 2 years. Let's go for it.
Sure.
That's a good way to do it. So that was my week. What was your?
That was the highlight of your week.
That was the highlight of the week.
That's a good one. I was in Europe.
Yep.
So very different. Mm-hmm. I went to London for shows, and then Paris. I say Paris now, by the way.
Oh wow!
Yeah, I'm one of those guys.
Did you get caught? Did you get caught saying, "Hey, thanks for coming out, Paris"? And they were like, "Boo!"
Yeah. You can't say. I was like fully. I mean, I don't like France.
Wow.
Listen. Okay, let me explain.
Yes.
All right. Let me explain. I went to Paris.
Yep.
And I mean, it's beautiful. There's so much history, so much culture, but the people, I mean, I just felt really dumb. I know like a few phrases in Francais, and it's not good enough. And I felt like I couldn't talk to some. Like I am someone who like talked to the Uber driver and tried to learn their life. And when I was in Ubers, I was just completely just shut down. Couldn't do anything. I'm like, I don't even know how to ask if you like are okay. You know what I mean? Like I don't even know. I mean, I know, but it's like I could say that. Like I know how to say how are you, but then you start speaking, and I'm like, I have no clue.
It sounds like heaven for me.
Yeah.
I don't have to talk to anybody throughout the day. That's my.
I feel so awful and silly. And then, by the way, they don't. I mean, the food I hated the food.
Wow.
It's just not
That's a lot of hot takes.
It's just not made for someone like who's like a plant-based guy. Because
okay.
I went and I asked for like a oat milk cappuccino.
Yeah.
All right. I asked for, can I get an oat milk? And the lady was like, oui. That's what they say.
Yep.
They say oui, and then they go away. And I was like, okay, Sava. And then they come back and they gave me a cappuccino, and then they gave me a side of hot milk.
Yeah.
I have a picture of this. They gave me a hot milk, and I was like, what is this? They're like, oh, I thought you wanted hot milk.
Hot milk.
I'm like, are you serious?
Yeah.
When is someone...
Okay, they thought oat milk was hot milk.
And, and then I was like, when would anyone like a side of hot milk? It's like a ketchup. Like, do you think I'm gonna add more milk to the cappuccino? So I was like, completely...
They gave you the cappuccino, which is already mostly milk.
They gave me the cappuccino
is almost entirely milk.
With milk, and then they gave me a side of hot. She was probably so sweet.
Yeah,
she did that. She was like, "This guy's crazy." She's probably thinking I'm insane. She's like, "Who does hot milk on the side of a cappuccino? This guy's insane."
Yeah,
she's probably thinking like, all brown guys are weird. She's like spreading stereotypes about me right now. She's like, "What the fuck?" So listen to this. This guy came into the store and he was like, "Can I get a side of hot milk?" Like, what the fuck is wrong with that kid? Yeah. So I was like completely furious about that. But then
carrying around your boiling milk the whole day.
every woman in France smokes.
Yep.
Every single, except Mona Lisa, but she's a painting. Everyone smokes. Went to the Louvre, saw the Mona Lisa. It was like barely anything.
Yeah.
It was not. I mean, the saw some Van Gogh and Monet. That was really cool.
Oh yeah.
But it's like, then I went to the Islamic painting section. They had nothing there. It was like a scam completely.
Did you have to pay? Did they upcharge you to see the Muslim?
No. It's like it's already expensive to go in.
Yeah.
But the British Museum, when I was going in,
that's where the Muslim art is.
They have like all the Indian section.
Yeah.
And I was going there like, oh, can I get some donations? I'm like, how about you pay me, dude?
Yeah.
You want donations?
Some nerve.
What?
Yeah.
What donations? So, and then went to the south of France for a day, for 2 days to like kind of look, and the beaches are beautiful.
Yeah.
I mean, it's probably the best looking water I've ever seen. And went snorkeling. That was fun.
Dude,
I don't even know how to swim, dude.
Yeah.
You
don't know how to swim?
I mean, I know how to swim, but I'm not the greatest swimmer.
Okay.
Right? So I was snorkeling, and then the lady asked like, there was one other brown couple.
Okay.
The entire south of France, there's 2 brown people, me and this other couple.
Yeah.
And they come in, they're like, oh, we're gonna snorkel, but we don't really know how to swim. And they're like, you might wanna know how to swim.
And then the snorkel instructor was like, what is it with brown guys with not being able to swim and wanting hot milk?
Hot milk. And the food was just not. I did not like. I had some gelatos, but that's like disgusting.
Yeah.
They didn't have any good plant-based food.
I would say this is as negative as I've heard. You're generally the positive guy. I'm the negative guy. This is as negative as I've heard you about a place.
I did not like. They are not considerate about, because they just don't understand. I mean, their food culture is so different.
Yeah.
Like, I used to think that, American food is bad, but like in New York, even like I was in Austin, they had vegan tacos.
Yeah.
It was like one of the best things I've ever had in my mouth. And then you go to France and they just don't understand that people might not want to eat ducks and veal.
Yeah.
People might not want to eat baby cows every meal. I'm like, yeah, thanks. I don't want to slaughter babies. All right.
Every day.
Sorry.
For every
That's
meal.
every meal. Veal. I'm like, you guys are fucking insane, dude. You eat veal for brunch? What's wrong with you guys?
That's a crazy way to... No, thank you.
What's in the news for you this week?
There are some really funny news stories.
Yeah?
I think we're going to spend... Do you want to start with
I'll start with mine.
Because I've read the article.
Yeah, we talked about this briefly. This is insane.
Fascinating.
I mean, I couldn't even believe this article. So one of my favorite comedians, brown guy.
Yeah.
Hasan Minhaj, under fire right now.
Maybe
probably
one of the most important brown comedians.
I mean, yeah. I mean, we have like 3.
Yeah.
And he's one of them who has like a Netflix show, Patriot Act, beautifully done, very unique, original, interesting.
Everything he does looks good.
Looks good. He is all about aesthetics. I mean, the other day I had to follow him at the cellar.
Yeah.
He murdered so hard. I was like, dude, like. I mean, I forgot like how good he's as a stand-up because I just see his like because stand-up is like such a different beast than like his one-man show.
And the one-man shit that he puts out also brilliant.
So good.
So stand-up is brilliant. The one-man show shit is brilliant.
And then now he's on tour. And then so what happens? This article is all about like. This New Yorker journalist who I guess is bored out of her mind. Like, is it like a slow Newsweek? Like, how are you looking into a comedian?
Yeah.
And then her entire point is that he exaggerated some of his stories. I'm like, have you seen stand-up comedy? Yeah. Oh, you think like Louis C.K.'s last special, he had a bit about being fucked by his dad. You think that happened?
Yeah.
It's like, I looked into it, never got fucked by his dad.
I read the article and I was like, why were you? Because the whole premise of the article is like, I looked into Hasan Minhaj's stories. And a lot of them are untrue. And it's
imagine
like, why were you doing that? Why were you looking into the stories?
Investigative journalism on a comedian.
Yeah.
What is that even like?
Yeah.
Oh, should we look into what's the other issue right now? So there's a big case about
Russell Brand.
I mean, he's not American, I guess.
Yeah.
What's the recent like most like American thing that happened? That was like on the news.
Outside of the shootings, a jet disappeared.
Yeah, a jet disappeared. Let's look into that.
Yeah.
Right? Like, where's the jet?
Where's the fucking jet?
Where's the jet? I mean, there's just so much going on. And this New Yorker journalist is like, I'm going to fact check a stand-up comedy show.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the same person who goes to comedy show and someone like how at times like you like interact with the audience and they'll like correct you.
Yeah.
I'm like, what are you doing?
Yes.
You think this is gonna now I have to address this for the next 5 minutes?
It is one of the strangest things that I've ever seen. In the article, he's like, because there's like 2 or 3 really
They're
specific.
trying to take down a brown guy and I do not appreciate. We have like 3. Can we have 3?
There's like 2 or 3 like really specific incidences. There's one. So his whole one-man show, Homecoming King, like the whole premise of that show is that he went to the door of this girl on prom night and was going in there to try.
Was it actually on prom night? What if it was a day before?
So that and then he gets turned down by the parents. The parents are like, you can't date our daughters. And he's like, this is racist as fuck.
Yeah.
And then in the actual story, she broke up with him like a couple weeks before. And then she ended up marrying a Southeast Asian guy.
Sure. I mean, and he covers that.
Yeah.
That's the last part of the special where he's like, once you go brown, you got to lock it down.
Yeah.
I think about that all the time.
I guess the question is like within because we're also getting into like larger questions about genre and stuff.
Sure.
If it's a one-man show,
right,
and it's being presented like it's true, what is your obligation to truth?
Right.
In a stand-up show, I would say in a stand-up show there is zero. There is absolutely zero.
I think the point. I think someone was talking to me about this. I mean, the Daily Show doesn't have a host now.
Yeah.
And he's like such a good political commentator, so he might be in the running. So a lot of people have this expectation that we expect the truth from someone like him, but at the same time it's like, oh, so you fudge some information on your stand-up one-man show, so now he didn't do the same thing on a Patriot Act. It's not like he's fudging information.
Yeah.
Like he has data-driven stuff on Patriot Act, and that's why he's qualified to be a political commentator.
And he's also in the articles. The woman's like, so things are untrue? And he's like, yeah, but emotionally they're true.
Yeah, I mean, he never. This is like a smear campaign on someone who already accepted and admitted that he never claimed them. Like he didn't sign a NDA or like a release form before he did the show. Hey, everything I'm saying is true. He never said that.
Yeah.
I don't watch a show already think, oh, this is obviously, everything they're saying is like. So when you're making a movie about Oppenheimer, you take some. As creative a director, you take some creative chances or whatever. You're like, oh, like that's wrong.
Yeah, it's a really.
Bush said there's weapons of mass destruction, and he's a painter now. Are we looking into this?
Yeah,
he's walking the face of the earth, selling his paint on eBay. And
let's find out if those flowers were actually blue that he's drawing about.
Yeah. I mean, I don't understand. So what else did you think about this? Like, as a stand-up yourself, like, what's your take?
I thought it was, first of all, I was like, white supremacists are going to have a field day with this. That was like my first thought. Is like, okay, this is a guy who is, because brown guys have to be held to a higher standard because,
100%.
Because of racism, because of white supremacy. I was like, this is going to dominate Fox News. That was like my first thought. And then my second thought is like, it does feel a little icky to be lied to, I would say. But to your point, why? And I think that that's kind of like something that the article is saying is like, I get, like, it's not her being like, Hasan Minhaj should be ashamed of himself. It is like, no, like 3 or 4 of these stories are exaggerated. There are some falsehoods within them. And I guess my feeling is kind of like, I believe a one-man show to be more truthful than a stand-up show.
Sure.
But then I don't even know why I believe that.
Right.
Like now these are things that I have to examine about myself.
Like no one.
Now let's go into Mike Birbiglia's shit.
Sure.
And see his one-man show. And then, like, why are we dissecting the form? It's
what about
confusing.
like there's like this English comedian I love a lot, James Acaster. He did an entire show about being like undercover cop.
Yeah.
And he's not an undercover cop. So it's like, at times, I mean, I get the point the reporter was trying to make is like the anthrax thing.
The anthrax thing is,
I think that was probably
a weird one.
That was probably the weirdest one out there. But it's like, even if his daughter didn't go through that, he knows people who has.
Yes.
I know people who, I mean, you have seen reports of, I mean, I don't even know this story about this, like after 9/11, there was like a lot of white CIA guy who were like going to mosques and claiming to be Muslims to just infiltrate Muslim population to kind of spy on them, which sure, whatever. But there was a story out of Orange County, California. This white guy befriended 2 Muslim guys, and they were like, working out together, playing video games together. And then when the U.S. invaded Iraq, they're like, what? They're playing video games, and the news came on, and the CIA was trying to like, hey, like, look, this is unfair, right? We should do something. Like, he's like Muslim, and it was like trying to like, what's the word I'm looking for?
Like rev them up. Like
it's like, hey, like
incriminate them.
Yeah, like this is insane, right? This is not fair. We should do something. And the 2 guys got so freaked out, they called the FBI.
Yeah,
and they're like, hey, like I think we have extremists among us, and we don't know what to do. And then the FBI had to like pull him off the case.
Like, because he was an undercover agent.
Like what are you doing, dude?
Yeah.
So like things like that has happened, like through like post 9/11. It was like a common theme. So it's like it's not completely unfounded that could have happened.
Yeah.
To someone.
There is
maybe
like,
not him.
And I think the article asks the question because Hasan Minhaj takes a version of that story and says that it happened directly to him, and that he was he had a cop like arrest him and put his head up like on the hood of a car or something like that. So that is him invoking the name of a guy who did do that. Like there was a white guy who was like running around trying to infiltrate mosques, and now Hasan Minhaj like says his name out loud and is like, that's the guy who tried to befriend me, and that's a situation that didn't exist. Hasan Minhaj's argument is, hey, this guy did a shitload of damage to Muslims. I don't owe him the truth. And then the flip side of that would be like, you are adding on like another charge to a person that is like unjust.
Sure.
So that one gets like real messy. The
Yeah.
anthrax one is like, you could argue that like nobody's getting harmed or things
Sure.
like that. I think it's a messy, like I think it's a real messy situation.
I mean, it is like, you know, in the with that storyline, it is hard, and it's like, you know, like when you're stand up is so hard already.
Yeah.
And obviously, like, you know, if you're like claiming that someone did something to you and you're calling out their name, that's
Yeah.
obviously not right.
Yeah. And
No
then-
one's saying that.
So let's say that that's a mistake, and
Sure.
then let's weigh it against all of the good that he's done with his
yeah,
art.
I mean, people who like it, I don't. I was talking to like someone, and it's like nothing's gonna happen to him.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I don't think people are gonna forget this in like a week or two.
Yeah.
Like, he's on tour, he's gonna be fine. He's a big following. People who love him, they really love him. And I think deep down people understand now. People are more kind of well versed with stand up, and I feel like even when I watch stuff, I'm not taking it like, oh yeah, this happened exactly
Yeah.
that. Like I think most people understand what stand up is. I mean, it comes from a place of emotional truth with like some exaggeration or hyperbole, and that's like the point of the art form. Not everything, like I'm not gonna go home and like learn a fact and claim that, oh, this is true.
Yeah. Because the whole storyline of him, like, being...
But at the same time, if we can cancel Hasan Minhaj, it'll really help me out. So please do that. I mean, I cannot be... I'm tired of being like fifth in line. You know what I mean? I really need some of these brown guys. I mean, I was so glad when Aziz got canceled. I was like, that's perfect. Get Aziz, get Hassan, get Kumail,
Yeah.
and then get some of the other New York guys, all of them. And then I would love that. I would
Yeah.
want to be the only guy doing this. And then they will look into they're like, oh, in Culture Clash episode 5, Shafi said this. And that's crazy, right? And then we're like, wow, well, it's like a comedy podcast, guys.
It was true emotionally.
It was a comedy
Yeah.
podcast, and you know, like it came from emotional resonance where, you know,
Yeah.
we have Patreon members, they love us. So clashes, write and review. If we get 2,000 reviews on Apple, I don't think they can cancel me.
No, I think you gotta
I
be
mean,
on
get
cancel.
us to like few more Patreon.
That's what it is. The Patreon.
I will do a culture from the jail sale.
Yeah.
Just for the clashers, you know, like we will revolt together.
I think the Patreon money. Let's not put it towards editing. Let's not put it towards production.
Bail money
for when you inevitably get investigated and get canceled for not being 100% truthful all the time.
I mean, probably 5% of the things I say are true. So if you are a New Yorker journalist who's like bored out of your mind and you're like, oh, who's the 10th biggest seller brown comedian?
Yeah.
There's like 3.
Yeah.
Who's the 10th biggest seller comedian that has no social wealth?
Yeah.
Nothing whatsoever. Might get deported any moment from this country. Who can I take down? Look into everything I've said online. And you have a career in journalism.
It gives you a bump. It might
If
give
you
you
are
a
a
bump.
New
It might
York
give them a bump.
If you're a New York University journalism intern and you listen to this podcast and you're like, I don't really have ideas. Look into Shafi Hussein. Why is no one looking into? I want to be
It's
investigated.
insulting that nobody's
Yes,
investigated you
it's
yet.
kind of sad. Like, I say shit all the time and no one corrects me. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm tired of being wrong. Look into me, guys. I need to learn a lesson.
I think that's the lesson.
Learn a lesson.
Is we need to teach you a lesson.
That's the thing. Like,
Anybody out there who has a journalism degree or is like interested in
Yeah,
it, look
you're
into
bored,
Shafi.
write
Leave Hasan alone. Look into
Yes.
Shafi. He's
Hasan
got-
Minhaj did nothing wrong. Aziz Ansari, I don't really know.
No, yeah, they're all.
It's like that was not the biggest scandal of that era, and you're just taking down. So I have a headline. Should I get into it, or did we just do a headline?
That was the headline.
That was
one headline.
Yeah, I have a
We're gonna
biography,
say-
but we'll do that later.
We're gonna save. I think we're gonna save some good headlines.
Do you have a headline, or do you want to just get into the the people so this week we're gonna do like one East, one West. People
Person of the week.
We're gonna give a shout out and kind of talk through it.
I'll do
because we want to do a West versus East. We started the pod doing that, and we're gonna bring it back. Something East, something West every week, so it's fun for the clashers.
We got
what do you get today?
George Washington.
Oh, the father.
He's always
the
number
father?
one. I'm the father of the country. I'm reading a book about him. God, is it boring? The American Revolution sucks.
What do you...
Of all the wars... George Washington wins like 2 battles out of 10.
Yeah.
They happen over 8
2 out of
years.
10?
Bro, it's brutal.
Dude, I didn't know that.
The army is...
Do people know this?
The army is...
He lost 8?
Dude, the army is starving the whole time.
Dude, So George Washington, this is true. He won 2 out of 10 battles?
It's probably a little bit higher than that. He wins Yorktown. He wins... he goes across...
The Battle of Saratoga?
No, that wasn't him. That was Benedict Arnold and Horatio Gates.
Because that's where I started, so I would see that all the time.
That was up north. So, yeah, he's not really... Because, like, you look at Grant, generals, Grant is winning battles left and right. Washington, his whole thing was he just kept this ragtag
army. Are you talking about
army.
Ulysses Grant?
Yeah, Ulysses S. Grant. So that guy was winning battles all over the place.
Sure.
Dude, the American Revolution is just 25,000 people die total, I think, which is like
what?
Over the course of
That's
8
like half
years.
a Libya flood.
Yeah, it's 2 Libya floods.
2 Libya.
So yeah, I think it's interesting. The book is by Ron Chernow, and it
Tell me some of the earlier stuff. Like, where is he born?
He was born in Virginia. Fucking loved England, like huge.
But he was
English.
born to like English parents. I'm assuming.
Yeah,
They're English.
He had.
When did they move here?
No, born in America.
No, the parents. When did they move here?
Yeah, I'm not sure when they moved over.
Like 1700s.
I think probably
Mayflower.
He was like 2nd generation American, 3rd generation American.
Okay,
so
like he's born in Virginia.
Yeah,
North
born in
or
Virginia.
West.
I'm not sure.
Virginia.
Sure.
Let's say Virginia.
Somewhere in Virginia. The reason that he ascends is because this is the 1700s.
Was he a good student?
No, didn't get a lot of formal education.
Nothing.
Yeah, almost nothing.
He had like weird teeth, right?
He was self-conscious about his whole life. He didn't have wooden teeth. He had teeth made from bones.
Cow.
There's a bunch ivory. There's a bunch of different things that it was made of.
So he was like the earliest like rapper with like fake teeth.
Yeah, fake teeth. Slave teeth might have been in there as well.
Slave teeth.
This is the one fact I want. Everybody's like, oh, George Washington, part of the times. This is the craziest George Washington fact. So overall, he's a great guy, and he keeps the army together.
Is he a great guy?
If you're this down with slavery throughout your whole life, it's tough to say. But
he's of the times. He's very of the times.
Because that's the other thing too, right? He's like, oh well, it was just of the times. Here's the thing that happens: the war is happening. The war is nearing its end. His residence, Mount Vernon in Virginia, gets raided by the British. 13 slaves escape.
Okay.
The war ends. There's a ton of slaves in New York where the British are holed up.
Yeah.
And the British are about to leave. They're going to ship the slaves up to Canada so that the Americans can't get them and send them back into slavery.
Okay.
Because the British don't. The British don't care about slavery. The Americans want to get to New York to get their slaves back.
Right.
George Washington goes to New York specifically to get like 3 or 4 of his slaves to bring him back to Mount Vernon in Virginia.
Wow.
The rest of those slaves all get shipped up to Canada where they become
so
free
he really
people.
loved
He
slaves.
really liked having slaves.
Yeah, he was just like a thing.
He had an assistant who was like, I would love to.
Let's go back in time. It's 17 what year was it?
1776 all this happened.
76 is like the start, right?
Yeah.
So let's say 1776. How long does it take at that time to come from Virginia to New York? You would say.
I think it's like
by horse.
Yeah, it's on horseback.
We're going in horse.
Couple of days.
Dude, right now it takes 6 hours.
Yeah.
With like a car. Mm-hmm. Right? Flight to 6 hours. Let's say 6 hours. So you're traveling and you know that there's like people who might shoot you, kill you. What's the one, like right now, if we had to think about this right now, if I had something in Virginia, we are in New York.
Yeah.
What is that thing that someone might shoot me for that I might go, like if there's like, if I, for example, had like a a slave in Virginia, right?
Yeah.
Like a small brown boy, like I got from the sweatshop in H&M factory in Bangladesh, like the south of Bangladesh. No one really.
But you like his work ethic. You're taking him with
He's
you.
very good at what he does, like hand embroidery.
Yeah,
I mean, it's the best work.
Tiny fingers. He's worked
beautiful,
very
and
quickly,
he uses like a lot of those like, what are those called?
sewing needles, sewing machines.
Not neat, like the hand stuff that people are doing over the pandemic.
Macrame.
Crochet.
Yeah.
He crochet. I mean, that guy crochets, dude.
Yeah, he's really good.
He's like a small, like brown dude. Like people will think he's my like son.
Yeah.
But I got him like a free deal. You know,
Yeah.
I went to Bangladesh. I gave the parents some money. I was like, I'll take care of him. In return, he will, make me like. I'm trying to get March going.
Yeah.
I'm on tour, and I can't really afford the American like factory. So I got someone
And
from
he knows
Bangladesh.
it's a good opportunity.
He's gonna go to college, all paid for.
But he's a slave.
He's a slave. I mean, a modern slave. He's a modern.
All interns are modern slaves.
Modern slaves. It's not bad. He's in Virginia, and
You're in New
I
York.
got I got news that there's British who caught him, and they're gonna free him, send him to
Canada.
Yep. And I have to take a flight or like car and go and get him back.
Yeah.
I'm not going.
That's a whole day.
I'm not going. Dude, the traffic out of Holland Tunnel, I don't need
To go
that.
get your little intern, get your intern back?
If I have to go through, it's $16.
Yeah.
Toll?
Yes.
$16. I don't think anything is worth me going through Holland Tunnel to Virginia.
You wouldn't have been.
I wouldn't.
You wouldn't have been the slave owner that George Washington was.
I would let him free.
Yeah.
And I would put up. I would wish him well. Send him an e-card. I'll send him an e-card. All the best in Ontario.
Give him a letter of recommendation.
100%. I mean, he did great work.
Yeah.
Ontario needs him.
It's really interesting. So
that's where we differ.
Yeah.
That's where I differ
You and George
from,
Washington?
Yeah, huge
He really
difference.
liked having
He
slaves.
really liked it.
There was, I'll wrap it on with this. There was one assistant so Washington was obsessed with publishing his wartime correspondence. He kept it in like a fucking, because he knew.
He had a binder?
Yeah, he kept it in a binder.
No.
He made it, as the war is fucking going on, his soldiers can like barely eat. He's like, I'm going to make an arts and crafts project. We're going to make a full binder of all of our, all of my correspondence.
Who's he talking to?
He has like his general staff do it. They're like putting all this stuff together. It's like a super in-depth project. The war ends and there's still more work to be done. So he's about to hire an assistant. The assistant is like, I would work for you, but you have slaves and I don't like slaves. And he's like, all right, fine. If you work for me, I'll let him go when I die.
Okay.
And then he's like,
That's
okay,
so funny.
yeah, that's fine. So that's
I'll let him go when I die.
I'll let him go when they die. And that's what Washington ends up doing. He lets the slaves go when he dies.
Yeah.
So that's why like people who are like super
pro-American.
pro-American.
It's like a kidnapper who was like, yeah, let them free when I'm dead.
Yes, exactly.
I'm like, yeah, but you are not there. They will be free.
Unfortunately, because Americans we love lionizing this guy. We made him like a deity, but it's like there's some really messy.
Is that the messiest thing? What about sex stuff? Was he crazy into sex stuff?
No, there was like maybe, and that's the other
married.
Thing about
he was
married, but 1700s is like he sent like one or two pretty flirtatious letters. That's about as much scandal. Lord Fairfax's wife, one of his benefactors.
Wait, he was flirting with his coworker's wife?
He was flirting. He had this guy who was like a mentor to him, and he was flirting with his wife.
Dude, I feel like all the founding fathers must have had like crazy amount of mistresses.
Ben Franklin like for sure did. He fucked around a lot.
I mean, Jefferson like had like slave babies.
Yeah, slave babies.
Ben Franklin, I mean, he was like the Elon Musk of his era. He was like inventing shit.
That's really funny.
He was inventing shit. He's like, I love Grimes.
Yeah,
I love to get grimy.
I love flying kites in lightning storms.
I mean,
and
he was like
Grimes.
the exact fucking. He is Elon Musk of his era. He's like stealing ideas also, and then like claiming it's his own.
And then that's the president. So bring it all up. It's like history is messy, and that's why I like it. You read the books, and it's like really messy.
What's the book called? Let's give it.
Washington, A Life.
Is that by who? Who's
Chernow? Ron Chernow.
Ron Chernow.
Yeah, and then we got to get into for the first. Vivek, what's his name?
Okay, so my guy from the east.
Well, hang on.
You
want to hold off onto the? We'll wait to the Patreon.
Yeah, let's jump onto the Patreon, baby. So Patreon will do.
And who are we talking about?
We're talking. So Patreon. This is what we're gonna do in this Patreon episode. We're gonna talk about East kind of born in the West. We're gonna do a person of the week. He's gonna be Vivek Ramaswamy running for the president.
I'm real interested to hear about this guy.
He's fun as hell.
There's some spicy stuff. Yeah,
Cookie, and then we're gonna do some recommendations.
Yeah, more headlines. We didn't even get into the headlines.
Headline. Yeah,
we got to shout out our Patreon members, our sponsors.
Yeah,
it's the same guy.
We don't have to give him a shout out every week, but
Aminor Rashid.
Yeah, Aminor Rashid. Thanks for tell your friends.
Yeah,
tell your friends.
We're giving value. A lot of good episodes.
This episode was killer.
The Patreon with Eric is good.
Oh my god,
Patreon with Jared Freed is good.
So much fun stuff there. I mean, we know weekly episodes are coming out Wednesday. Patreon's coming out Wednesday. YouTube full length videos now. Patreon, there's more bonus shit going on.
Yeah.
Spotify,
and
TikTok,
we're just getting
YouTube.
started. We got some real fun cooking just on this next episode. So we'll see you guys on the Patreon.
See you on thanks for listening. Follow Dan, follow me. Come out on live shows. We'll do a live show someday soon. Thanks again for tuning in, baby.
See you later.